And a court in Saudi Arabia has sentenced 5 people to death in the killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Saudi state TV says there were others who were given prison time. Khashoggi was a prominent critic of the Saudi government. He is believed to have been killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul last year by a team of agents with ties to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
The Crown Prince has denied any involvement or knowledge of the operation. CBS News foreign correspondent Charlie D'Agata has been following the case from London and joins us now. So, Charlie, what do we know about this trial that took place in Saudi Arabia? I mean, perhaps we weren't covering it because we have a lot of impeachment stuff that we've been covering. But right. I really didn't catch wind of this trial.
Well, you haven't missed much because there hasn't been much coverage of it because it was largely held in secrecy. It's been going on for just under a year, so something like 11 months. There have been some U.S. diplomats who were invited to sit in on that trial, the investigation in the trial. Turkish diplomats were able to see that. Some of Khashoggi's family were able to be in there, but they haven't been able to talk about what they were seeing or what they were doing. What we did see this morning is when that determination came out and it was released, and this is worth noting. The investigation showed, the prosecutor said, that there was no prior intention to kill at the start of this mission, and adding that this was a snap decision. As you said, 5 people have been given the death sentence. 3 more people have sentences that, if you put them all together, they're 24 years. They can appeal, but that's about all we know. We don't even know the identity of these people who are involved with it.
And Charlie, as Anne-Marie just noted, it's been a while since the story has been in the news. Just remind us of the circumstances surrounding his death.
Yeah, this is a horrific murder that took place at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. It was October of last year, so it's 2018. And Jamal Khashoggi had gone to pick up some papers. He was about to be remarried. He needed to get some paperwork done. He walked into that consulate, and he did not walk out. In fact, they believe it was supposed to be an operation to get him out of the country that maybe went wrong. Saudi officials have said that it may have been rogue agents that were responsible for his death, but he was allegedly killed inside the Saudi consulate, and he was dismembered, and his body was removed somehow because his remains have never been found. It caused international outrage, not just in Turkey, from the United States. A CIA investigation suggested that Mohammed bin Salman may have ordered the killing. Again, the Saudi government and the Saudi royal family denies any responsibility in what's happened. So this will not be the end of it. The UN has condemned even the trial process itself and the investigation, saying this isn't transparent. I mean, the Saudi royal family are holding all the cards. This isn't the kind of Western trial that we would see in the United States or here in the UK, where we have an ability to kind of dig down into the evidence, the people who are involved, and a step-by-step in order to come up with our own conclusions. There's been no transparency at all.
I think it's really interesting that you mentioned sort of the conclusion that it had been a snap decision when, if you believe the reports, that a bone saw was used. That's not typically something that is just lying around. One would think there would be some planning in order to have that sort of hardware, but that's according to some of the reports. In terms of the U.S. investigation, what was the conclusion when it came to U.S. authorities about who's responsible for this?
Well, it gets a little bit cloudy, and of course, there are diplomatic sensitivities having to do with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia remains a strong U.S. ally and a regional ally in the Middle East. There are troops that are based there. In fact, that relationship is becoming stronger, more involved with this White House administration than in recent years. However, the investigation suggested that the order to execute Khashoggi came from the highest level, from Mohammed bin Salman himself. And a couple of his aides faced sanctions, but the prince himself, the crown prince, was not among those people who was identified and had sanctions on them. It's worth noting that the 2 aides that were implicated in this, who have had U.S. sanctions against them, were exonerated today. They were let off the hook, saying they had nothing to do with it.
So then, Charlie, I don't know if you know this, but is this, according to Saudi Arabia, the last word on this case? This is it? No one else will be facing charges or any sort of punishment?
Yeah, well, they would like to have it that way. They'd like to close the door on this. And yes, as you said, a bone saw doesn't exactly suggest a snap decision. And the men, or we're assuming men, the people who are responsible, or the people who have these these death sentences that have been given out, they can appeal, and the other 3 people, again, haven't been identified. They can also appeal. So it won't be the end of it, and it certainly won't end the suspicion. You know, the UN has drawn question marks about this. The United States administration, CIA investigators here in the UK, Turkish investigators, they're not happy. So they won't be able to draw a line under this because the suspicion will still continue. And they'll probably want to get more details about who these people are that are responsible for the death, and find out exactly how they came to the determination that they did and who was ultimately responsible. I mean, the question you have to ask is, was this an ordered execution that came from the very top? I mean, that's the key question. That hasn't been answered.
Right. Charlie D'Agata, thank you so much.
Thank you.